KTN this afternoon. Now we continue. On today's Farm Guide, Noah Kipkemboi is in Kisaju, Kajiado County, to meet up Bishop Jackson Mbuthia, commonly known as Pastor Mbuthia, a dedicated dairy farmer who has mastered the art of growing his own fodder to ensure a steady, cost-effective feed supply for his herd. Now, how does he do it? And what lessons can other farmers learn? Let's take a look.
The animal feed ecosystem in Kenya is quite a tricky one. First of all, we have a deficit of 60%. That means that we are importing majority of our feeds. But that feed that we produce locally, we are losing 46% of it to post-harvest losses. The big question is, how can we turn this narrative around and make sure that we are producing more properly and not losing to post-harvest losses? And most importantly, making sure that that is feeding into your bottom line as a farmer. We're about to have this conversation right here on the Farm Kenya Show. Stay tuned.
I say, even if you have an acre that you have, or even you rent a piece of land from your neighborhood, you can plant your own feed. Me, I will go for planting your feeds other than buying. Because if you buy, it is quite expensive. All that I buy myself is concentrate and minerals to feed my cows. That is dairy meal, sometimes maize germ, and salt and other minerals.
All right, thank you very much, Bishop. Mbuthia, for joining us on the Farm Kenya Show. And for starters, your first encounter briefly, because before where we are right now, you had tried your hand in different spaces when it comes to farming. What were those, adventures, and how did it turn out?
I tried quite a number of things. Vegetables, crops like maize, French beans, and so on, and they didn't help me at all. So one time I talked with a gentleman about dairy farming, and what he told me, I got interested. And he told me, if you want to do dairy farming, they can do very well here in Kajiado, especially Kisaju. And he told me, number one, if you want to do dairy farming, is feeds. Number two is feeds. Number three is feeds. In other words, when you want to do dairy farming, take care of the feeding of your animals. And if you do that, you are good to go. Right. So I asked him, what do I do? Where do I get the feeds? He told me there are varieties of grass that I can plant. One of them is called sugar grass. The other one is Nutri-Feed, and Lucerne, and others, and Napier. And by that time, there was no the technology of Super Napier. Super Napier came quite lately. And when the Super Napier came and we tried Super Napier, oh my goodness, that is a game changer. Where we are studying right now, this is Super Napier. Okay. And in 1 acre, if done well with good watering, then you can feed 15 cows comfortably without having to go without no food.
Let's walk back a few steps in regards to the options, because you're told to do dairy. Number one is feeds, number two is feeds, and number three is feeds, and you went big on that. What are the type of animal feeds that a farmer, especially who wants to go in dairy and other form of farming, of animal feed, what are the types, and what are the conducive environment that you can create to make sure that these feeds are properly taken care of?
An animal like the dairy cow, you have to feed it properly. And there are 3 types of feeding, like you have to do a total mixed ratio. It has to have energy, it has to have protein, it has to have protein, and so on. And when you do that, and you feed your cow properly, it can give you a good meal. There are quite a number of types of feeds. There's maize, which you do silage after the maize develops little crop and milk in it. That's the best crop to do the silage. Then there's super napier, you can do the silage. And there's sugar grass, you can also do the silage with that. And there's Nutri-Feed, you can do the silage with that. Nutri-Feed is for protein, Napier is for energy, and also sugar grass and maize. But Nutri-Feed is for protein, which is very high in protein as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So silaging is one of the ways, because a lot of people, when they think of animal feeds, we are envisaging hay most of the times, bales of hay. Silaging, why silaging? How is it done?
Hay is also part of feeding because the cow needs dry matter. But if you want to save your crop from going to waste, because now if I harvest this napier grass and I feed it the way it is, I'll waste a lot of it. But if I do the silaging, silaging you can do in silage bags, you can do the burger, you can dig a pit and put it down there with a good covering. You can do some paper bags and hold it properly because silage don't need oxygen, neither water. If you protect your silage from those things like water and oxygen, your silage cannot rot. And it can stay from 1 year to even 10 years, being good. So what I do, I cut my napier, I wilt it for 4 days or so, then I chop it with the machine, and I do the silage with it. That is, I have to put Nutri-Feed, to put molasses and the molar plus, mix it. In 20 liters of water, you do 2 liters of molasses and 1 liter of molar plus. If you mix it and you drip the water, that solution into the silage, and you tie it properly, it will ferment very nice, and the cow will like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. Quite a process right there.
Yeah.
In terms of animal feeds, since you've done dairy now for a minute, we still talk about this issue of deficit of animal feeds in Kenya. As a farmer, why do you think are we not producing enough animal feed locally within the country?
I think one reason is lack of knowledge, or lack of information. Information is power. Before I was informed how to do the cows and how to feed, I was depending on hay only, which is not very, very good kind of feeding. But when I was taught about doing the super napier and doing the Nutri-Feeds and doing this kind of crops, your cow cannot miss food. So one area that we don't have enough food is lack of knowledge, lack of being information, lack of being taught, and lack of also the land where to plant the food. Now, with 15 cows, you don't need a big land. Only 2 or 3 acres is enough to feed your 15 cows. As a matter of fact, I was told, I'm putting it into test whether it is true. In 1 acre, like this super napier you see here, can feed 15 cows comfortably without lacking any food.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So silaging actually it helps with the issue of post-harvest.
Yes, of course.
That's one of the biggest problems you have.
You don't lose anything. But if you cut it and you just put it to dry, you lose much of that. But if you put it into the silage, you cannot lose even 1 bit, because when you cut it properly, when you chop it nicely with the machine, the cow eats even a little bit of it. It doesn't lose even 1 bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. I was chatting with one close friend of mine who tells me he grew up in a farm, and they used to have cows. And it was cows, he called it, zile ngombes a headache, because you're not able to make money off your dairy.
Yes.
I know feeds is the foundation. Feeding them properly, you're able to get value for it.
Yes.
Why do you think farmers who are keeping cows, many of them are complaining, I'm not able to recoup my investment?
Now, if you got a cow, a good cow, good breeder that is, and you feed it well, you feed it with total mix ratio properly, a cow is capable of giving you 25 to 30 and even close to 40 liters per day. And when you do that, you take away all your expenses, you end up getting 1,000 shillings per day from one cow. That is cool profit.
Cool profit, 1,000?
1,000.
A day?
A day, yes.
But the foundation is feeding it properly?
Yeah, feeding it properly, yes.
So a lot of farmers don't invest into feeding their cows properly?
Absolutely, yes. It is not cheap. It is quite expensive because a cow takes about 600 shillings for it to give you that kind of milk. You have to feed it 12 kg of concentrate, that is dairy milk, per day. That is, if you are milking 3 times as I do, you in the morning you feed it 4 kilograms of dairy milk. At 11, you give it 4 kilograms of dairy milk, and at 5, you give it 4 kilograms of dairy milk. When you do that, you are good to go and get about from 25 to 35 liters and close to 40 liters per one cow.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's possible.
And with that kind of milk, you start at 60 shillings per liter, you end up getting good money from one cow, which after taking all your expenses, it will leave you with 1,000 shillings in your pocket.
Wow, from one cow.
From one cow.
That's quite interesting. Let's look at the feeds market, okay? Because you are into production for your own cows. Yes. There's a whole market out there, especially with the deficit that we have in the country. From your observation, how is the market? Is the feed affordable, that is, for majority of these feeds? And what do you think can be used to bring the cost even to be better for farmers?
Well, what I find in the market for feeds is dairy meal and hay. Those are 2 components that you get from the market. But if you want to do dairy farming, you better do your own feed. Like there's a balers that you can get silage from the balers. Those white bales that you see, but they are not cheap. They're quite expensive because one of them of that kilogram, you buy it at 5,000 shillings, and factoring that into your feeds cannot give you much. But if you do your own farming, you even with 1 acre, not even 1 acre, even half an acre, you can produce good feeds for your cow. All that you need is water and manuring nicely into your crops. And what you harvest, your cow will get. Because a cow, by the way, it takes 10 liters for feed in the morning. 10 kilograms for feed in the morning and 10 in the evening. You only need 20 kg to feed one cow a day.
Even as we continue this discussion on matters animal feed, we understand that the cost of feed determines the cost of final product. And today on the commodity cost specifically board, we are looking at the cost of processed milk across different regions of the country. Take a look. Some farmers will argue the issue of where I'm operating from, the location. Right now we're in Kajiado.
Yes, a dry place.
A very dry place.
Yes, yes.
And you're doing actually farming, dairy farming here. In regards to location, where you're located, where your farm is located, is that a huge factor to your success as a dairy farmer?
Yes, it could be, because even if you got the land, the other factor you should think is about water, because here we don't have rain. You've got to irrigate your land. Like this depth you see here is irrigated with a drip irrigation. Every part of it. You can see even some drip lines over here,
yes,
which are used to irrigate my land. This Napier is like this not because of rain, because of irrigation. I've done watering in this Napier. And do you know what? If you harvest it once, you can harvest it in the next 1 month. So every month you can continue harvesting. That's why I say that with one acre, you can feed 15 cows. Because every month you can keep on harvesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Production. So it sort of forces a farmer, and in a good way, to be able to centralize everything within the farm. Because sometimes, we outsource. Yes. We want somebody else to bring the feed. Me, I just want to milk and sell. Yeah? So it's centralizing. The issue of capital now comes in, people are wondering, okay, will this be too expensive? Is there a way of doing animal feed in a more cost-effective way from your experience?
Of course, when I started this kind of business, I have to factor that, because I can't feed my cows from my pocket. It is too expensive. But even if half an acre that you have, or even you rent a piece of land from your neighborhood, you can plant your own feed. Me, I will go for planting your feed other than buying. Because if you buy, it is quite expensive. All that I buy myself is concentrate and minerals to feed my cows. That is dairy meal, sometimes maize germ, and salt and other minerals. That's it. And then in this dairy farming, you've got to think about the vet doctor who takes care of your animals. If you don't have one good one, don't expect to do a good job.
Take care of your animals.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Yes.
We look at the bottom line, and you're like, how much money am I making? From the conversation we've just had here, you're saying if you feed your cows properly, you'll make 1,000 bob.
Absolutely.
Of pure profit.
Yes.
It seems that, feed is a huge component of the cost of the final product, milk.
Yes.
And even today, later on, we'll be taking a look at cost of milk, processed milk. But talk to me about how farmers are losing that good margin from their product. And it's interesting because you sell your own milk other than selling from the big processors. How can farmers make more from their final products?
Of course, if you sell your own milk yourself to the consumers, you get good money. But if you sell to the big companies like Brookside and others, you make very little money. Like now they are selling, they are paying at least 40 to 50 shillings per liter. When I sell my own milk, I sell at from 60 to 80 shillings per liter. So I make some profit. But even if you sell 60 shillings per liter, you can still make 1,000 shillings from one cow. Profit.
It's possible.
Yes, it is possible.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, we are trying now to look at the future, because you talked about information, lack of information amongst many farmers, not going into producing their own feed. Sometimes you look at developed markets and you find a whole industry is established to cater for particular needs. So when you take dairy, it's super divided into different components. That company will supply you with seed. That company will supply you with marketing and whatnot. That element of specialization. Do you think that can help in the local market, sort of for people to specialize, especially in feed production? Can we see more people coming into silaging specifically for that?
Yes, of course. And what I mean dairy farming is not any cow. You got to source the kind of right breed that can give you good milk. What I did when I was doing it, I got some information. I went to consult the kind of breed that can do better here. And I'm doing Holstein Friesians. They are the best. And they can give you from 25 to 40 liters per cow. And what I mean, 25 to 40 liters a cow has got 3 seasons. It has got the first season is 100 days after it gives birth. The other season is 100 days after it has given birth. Then the last one is 100 days. Now, with first 100 days, it gives the maximum.
Okay.
The rest of 100 days, it gives the average. And the last 100 days, it gives the least.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happens. So when we say 25 to 30 liters or 40 liters, is not the second semester. All that is the first one. 100 days. That's why you weigh your cow and the production of your cow. You don't wait after you have milked it for 200 days or 300 days or so. It is the first 100 days after giving birth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So understanding the cycles and the production potential in those cycles.
Yes.
I know you had quite an experience recently, because with the rains, Kajiado is known to be very dry.
Yes.
But you said rain did more damage to you than
the drought.
Than the drought.
Yes.
Why? How?
Well, I'm planting my feed in 5 acres of land. And during the time of drought, I have my water, my irrigation, so I was doing okay. But when the rain came, the flooded rain that you all know in Kenya, it flooded this whole area. And when the water logs on a black cotton soil, well, from the people who know about it, it has got polars. So all the nutrients went down. So what you are seeing now in this farm, it has been redone. I have cultivated it. I have do a lot of manure to have it green like this. Otherwise, all the nutrients went down with rain. And the rain did more damage than the drought, because I said I've got water, so I was irrigating my land during the time of drought. But when it rained, you don't do irrigation, so the rain was so much, and it cut all our water.
Yes, and you know, we're in that era of climate change.
Yes.
We're told rains can come time that you don't expect. So how do you shield yourself, especially when it comes to fodder production, animal feed production? How do you protect yourself?
My instructor told me, if you want to do dairy cow, make sure you have a reserve of at least 5 to 3 months. That if you don't have any other food coming from nowhere, you can still feed your cow. So at the time of much rain as it was, you have good reserve of your cow that you can feed your cow. But if you don't have reserve, it can be very dangerous. So because your cow will go without food, unless you want to put them in a raging situation and they eat from outside. But dairy cow, as far as I know, the best of it, you do zero grazing. Don't put in the raging cows. The silage is the best way of reserving your food, your cow feed. Because silage, there is we have the silage bags.
Okay.
They are available. You can buy them in town. And one bag can carry about a ton or a ton and a half and 2 tons per one bag. But if you have enough napier like I have today, I'll harvest it, get the silage bag and pack it there. So the preservation of silage, it can stay from 1 year even to 10 years when well protected from water and oxygen. And what I have today, I can tell you, this one I can have over 20 tons of silage. So all that I did is to chop it, get the silage bags or bunker into the pit or well done one without where the water cannot go through, and just preserve it, and you can stay there. You will be taking enough to feed your cow every day.
Definitely. Enough to feed your cow.
Yes.
Take care of your investment. Thank you very much, Bishop Mbwithia, for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much.
Right here at the Farm Kenya Show.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right. So, there you have it.
Thank you.
Matters to do with cows. Take care of your cows.
Absolutely, yes.
But before you go into dairy, make sure that it's feeds, so that you don't starve your cows, and if at all you're to recoup your investment, you're properly prepared. And from this conversation, we've learned that it's possible for you to prepare your own silage and to
to feed your cows for maximum productivity.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of today's show. And Pastor Mbuthia's success in fodder production is a clear example that with the right approach, farmers can cut feed costs. I mean, look at what he has been doing. Also boost milk production and build a more sustainable dairy enterprise. We hope you've picked up valuable insights to improve your own farm. Now remember, smart farming is the future. Keep it here for more practical solutions on Farm Guide. Until next time, happy farming. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. Keep it right here, KTN.
Kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja kuimarisha